Hello viewers, today we're going to be doing a revisit video on this SMC fan. This is a TH-16 from 1998 and it runs kind of slow. I think the cap may be on its way out. After seeing the one that the H sent over, or the letter H, it seems to run a lot faster than this. This is supposed to pull 45 or 0.45 amps rather. So let's see what we're drawing now. Well, we're at 0.42, so it's not that far down, but it just feels kind of weak. Now it's down to 0.40. One, it really crawls, which is kind of nice, but I don't think it's supposed to be that way. So let's go ahead and open this up and take a look and get a reading on that cap and see if it's still good. At this point, that capacitor is well over 2 decades old. Capacitors are just not made like they used to be. Used to be able to get 50 years out of a capacitor. Not with the stuff made anymore. No way. These are always kind of a nuisance to get apart because we have to play with these clips here. And the nuisance is that the flat part here has to get pushed out like this for that clip to be able to push in. And it has to come out relatively far too. That's one part of what you got to do, and then the next part is this has got to go in there. Gotta go like that. No, it's not impossible, but it's not quite as easy as it should be. And of course there's the argument that the average consumer would never go this far into the fan, and that argument is completely correct, but that does not make the design correct. It still should be serviceable whether people are going to service it or not. Because improper thinking, as a result of other improper thinking, is still improper thinking. Now there's a small motor in these things, no doubt about that. Now here's our capacitor. It's supposed to be a 4 microfarads capacitor. Let's get it off. It actually doesn't matter if it's on there or not. Unfortunately, I'm going to have to clip the wires in order to check it. There should be enough slack that I could put it back together if it does happen to be good. Okay, so let's get our meter out here and let's do some testing. So we'll set this on to microfarads. Let's see what we get. So we're looking for 4 microfarads with a tolerance of 5%. And we're getting 3.96. So I think the cap is okay. I guess the fan just runs slow. That's slightly disappointing. I was kind of hoping the capacitor was bad because now I have to spend all the time stitching this back together when I didn't even do anything. Is there a fly in here? That's kind of unusual. Yeah, there is. Huh. Okay, I'm thinking maybe a solder and shrink to an ABD is the easiest thing for this because there's not... is there enough slack to do a wire nut? Not really. Could also do one of those crimper things. Let me see what I have on hand. Okay, I'm going to have to use the soldering and the string tubing because I don't have any of those other things on hand. So I'll strip this back a little bit more. Just enough to get a good connection. And we're going to use, let's see what kind of string tubing I got here. This is good enough. Let's sit here. Oh, that's a bit too small. We'll use this. It's a pretty good fit. Okay. Sometimes this is kind of difficult to get started when you're working in a small proximity like this. Okay, that should do for that, and then this is barely reaching. If I take this off, it'll make it easier to make the connections. So much easier now. The wonders of being able to work at a good angle. Unfortunately, that luxury simply does not always exist. Okay, let's see if this is ready to solder. Okay, looks like it is, or it was. Okay, those are good connections. Slide the tubing over them, and then we'll shrink the tubing, which of course is better done with a heat gun, but I don't feel like getting out another piece of equipment, so we're just going to do this, which for all intents and purposes will work just fine. I wonder if this is as entertaining or more entertaining than watching paint dry. Perhaps it is of comparable entertainment value. Okay. It's a tight fit now, which I don't like, but what are you going to do about it? I mean, this is what it is. Well, I don't think it'll fit mounted that way. I've got to clean this still. I've never serviced this VN before. Perhaps it'll run a little better once the bearings is cleaned and serviced. I'm sure they could use some fresh lubrication after all these years. Okay, let's just make sure that it still works. It does. obviously works about the same. So, I don't know. Maybe the bearings just need to be serviced. Although it seems like they're pretty free, but I don't know. Cap is okay.